Something extraordinary happened in our solar system today, something that may completely change how we understand planets, life, and technology beyond Earth. 14 hours ago, the very definition of our solar system shifted, and the evidence is already pouring in from observatories across the world. What scientists recorded is so unlikely that the probability of it occurring naturally is less than 1 in 8.5 billion. This was not a small atmospheric change. It wasn't a storm, and it wasn't a temporary weather event. What happened was a planetary transformation on a scale that scientists normally expect to take millions of years. At exactly 4:12 UTC this morning, the thick sulfuric acid clouds of Venus, clouds that have remained a pale yellow for countless centuries, began to change. Within just 90 minutes, the planet's brightness dropped dramatically and its spectral signature shifted into a completely different wavelength range. Put simply, Venus changed color. The familiar yellowish glow disappeared and was replaced by something entirely unexpected, a deep green hue. Imagine looking at Venus through a telescope in your backyard. Normally, you would see a bright white-yellow star in the morning sky. Instead, observers around the world were staring at something that looked almost organic, an emerald sphere hanging in space. Planets do not change color overnight. In planetary science, transformations happen over geological time, measured in millions of years. Yet the instruments watching Venus reported something completely different. The near-Earth infrared spectrograph aboard the James Webb Space Telescope confirmed that at 4:15 UTC there was a massive surge in aerosolized compounds similar to chlorophyll floating in the upper atmosphere. And this was not a small trace signal. The density of these compounds was comparable to the biological mass of the Amazon rainforest, except it was suspended 50 kilometers above the surface of Venus. Scientists immediately began tracing the timeline backward, searching for a trigger. What they found leads to one object that has already been the center of intense observation since late 2025. Just 18 minutes before the chemical cascade began, the mysterious interstellar object known as 3I Atlas passed within 40,000 kilometers of the Venusian cloud tops. That timing is not a coincidence. It suggests a direct relationship between the object's passage and the atmospheric transformation we are now witnessing. For physicists, this creates a major problem. The basic laws of thermodynamics tell us that complex systems tend toward disorder. Entropy increases over time. Chemical systems break apart rather than organizing themselves into more complex biological structures. Transforming the sulfur-rich atmosphere of Venus into a system that resembles a nitrogen-oxygen cycle, complete with chlorophyll-like chemistry, would require an enormous amount of energy and a process far beyond anything we currently understand. And yet multiple independent observations confirm the same thing. The European Space Agency's Envision orbiter recorded the chemical changes. The Japanese Space Agency's Akatsuki spacecraft confirmed the spectral shift. Observatories on Earth, including the Haleakala Observatory in Hawaii, captured visual confirmation. 3 separate scientific teams, using different instruments and methods, all reached the same conclusion. Venus is undergoing a catalytic atmospheric transformation. When scientists calculate the amount of energy required to break the sulfur bonds in the Venusian atmosphere this quickly, the numbers become almost unbelievable. It implies that 3I Atlas is not simply a rock or a comet drifting through space. Instead, it appears to be acting like a planetary seeding mechanism. In other words, something about its passage is triggering chemical reactions on a scale large enough to reshape an entire world. The implications of that possibility are enormous. If this object can alter the chemistry of Venus, a planet widely considered one of the most hostile environments in the solar system, and push it toward conditions that might support life, then we are not witnessing a random cosmic event. We may be seeing a technology operating at the highest level of theoretical energy use, something approaching the top of the Kardashev scale. Take a moment to think about that. If an object only a few kilometers wide can trigger planetary-scale atmospheric changes in a matter of hours, then the question becomes unavoidable. What exactly happened when this same object passed Mars earlier? And perhaps even more importantly, what happens if its attention turns toward Earth? The numbers coming from the latest measurements will challenge everything we thought we understood about astrobiology, because the data does not simply say that the clouds of Venus turn green. The data suggests something even stranger. According to the oxygen readings now being reported from the upper atmosphere, Venus may not just be changing color. It may be starting to breathe. And when scientists began examining the timeline of events more carefully, they discovered something about the speed of this transformation that has planetary geologists deeply concerned. Normally, atmospheric evolution happens slowly. On Venus, researchers have spent decades measuring the dense clouds made of carbon dioxide and sulfuric acid. The planet is famous for its extreme greenhouse effect, with surface temperatures hot enough to melt lead. Yet on March 9, 2026, something unexpected appeared in the data. At 14 UTC yesterday, the Envision orbiter detected a large thermal anomaly in the upper atmosphere. At first, researchers suspected an instrument glitch, but the temperature at an altitude of 60 kilometers suddenly dropped by 40 degrees Kelvin in less than an hour. That kind of change should not happen without a massive energy sink removing heat from the system. Then, 2 hours later, another signal appeared. Spectral analysis detected molecular oxygen forming in the cloud layers. Not tiny traces, actual measurable concentrations rising from almost 0 to 2% in only a few hours. For a planet whose atmosphere is dominated by carbon dioxide, producing that much oxygen so quickly would normally require energy equivalent to hundreds of millions of nuclear explosions every second. And yet there were no explosions, no bright flares, and no visible disturbances, just a quiet, rapid chemical conversion taking place across the sky of an entire planet. Which raises the question scientists are now struggling to answer. If this transformation was not caused by natural processes, then something else must be responsible, and all the evidence continues to point back to the same mysterious object passing silently through the clouds of Venus. But what researchers discovered next makes the situation even more difficult to explain. Shortly after the oxygen spike, another anomaly appeared, this one even more difficult to explain. In the early hours of March 10th, the atmospheric pressure at roughly 55 kilometers above Venus began to stabilize. The chaotic winds, which usually whip around the planet at speeds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour, suddenly slowed. They aligned into smooth, laminar flows, almost as if some invisible hand had calmed a planetary storm. The precision required to orchestrate such a change is far beyond anything our most advanced supercomputers can simulate, let alone nature itself. Tracking data shows that as 3I Atlas passed the planet, it didn't simply drift by. Instead, it emitted a pulsed resonance frequency at 4.2 Hz, a frequency that perfectly matches the vibrational resonance of carbon dioxide molecules. The implications are staggering. By using this frequency, the object could be destabilizing CO2 bonds, releasing oxygen, and reorganizing carbon into entirely new compounds. This is no ordinary comet or asteroid. This is a device operating on a scale and sophistication that defies our current understanding of physics and chemistry. By 5:45 UTC, observatories began reporting something even more remarkable. The Keck Observatory in Hawaii observed complex organic polymers raining down from the upper atmosphere. The green glow isn't just chlorophyll, it's a carbon-based lattice, a scaffold forming in the clouds, suggesting the very beginnings of terraforming. Then, at 6:30 UTC, the Russian Venera D mission team reported a localized drop in atmospheric pressure on the surface, normally crushed under 90 atmospheres. In essence, the greenhouse effect that made Venus uninhabitable is being reversed manually, deliberately. The odds of a comet passing Venus, emitting the exact resonance needed to break CO2 bonds, and triggering a rapid photosynthesis-like cascade, statistically 0, 1 in 10 to the power of 50. All evidence points to an intentional act of planetary engineering. Picture a petri dish, you add nutrients, you watch life flourish. Now scale that petri dish up to the size of a planet. That is exactly what scientists are observing on Venus right now. By late morning, oxygen concentrations in a specific atmospheric layer had spiked to 18%, almost equal to Earth's 21%. Temperatures stabilized at 25 degrees Celsius, and pressure hovered around 1 bar. The atmosphere's composition, nitrogen, oxygen, argon, now mirrors conditions suitable for human habitation. It is almost as if someone, or something, is preparing Venus as a habitable environment, and this is only the beginning. Observations from the night side of Venus reveal even stranger phenomena, geometric patterns forming in the clouds. A perfect hexagon at the South Pole rotates counter to the planet's spin, defying known fluid dynamics. When the European Space Agency examined it with the CHOPS telescope, they found it was emitting a neutrino pulse, not a radio signal. Neutrinos pass through everything, including planets. Modulating them requires technology beyond anything humanity has achieved, and the pulse is aimed directly at Earth. The physics of this event are staggering. Transforming Venus's entire atmosphere, breaking sulfur bonds, releasing oxygen, and constructing carbon scaffolds would require energy equivalent to the Sun's total output on Earth over an entire year, concentrated into 12 hours. 3I Atlas, a small object barely 5 kilometers across, seems to generate petawatts of energy without visible fuel or massive reactors. Observatories like IceCube at the South Pole confirmed a coherent, high-energy neutrino flux originating near Venus, a beam flat in energy spectrum, perfectly engineered, not random. The precision is breathtaking. This object manipulates fundamental forces at a level that challenges the very core of physics. By noon Eastern Time, the neutrino stream shifted, splitting into 2 beams. One remained focused on Venus, continuing atmospheric transformation. The second pivoted 42 degrees, locking onto Earth. IceCube detectors recorded signals 4 times above background noise. Embedded in that stream is a sequence of prime numbers, a universal mathematical language, and a signature of intelligence at the Kardashev Type 1 level. 3. I-Atlas isn't just terraforming, it is communicating. This is not coincidental. The probability that a natural object emits a neutrino stream encoding prime numbers while simultaneously terraforming a planet is effectively 0. Even the most skeptical scientists, including the director of the SETI Institute, now acknowledge that an artificial origin cannot be ruled out. And the signals are not random. They are focused on our planet's tectonic pressure points, targeting deep ocean trenches like the Mariana, Tonga, and Puerto Rico trenches. These are the thinnest areas of the Earth. Observational data now paints an even more astonishing picture. 3I Atlas, rather than continuing on a simple trajectory out of the solar system, is decelerating in a way that defies Newtonian physics. Normally, an object escaping the sun's gravity should slow down predictably only due to the gravitational pull. Yet this object is slowing faster than gravity allows, effectively parking itself. Projections show it will come to a complete stop relative to the sun within 48 hours, positioning itself at the L1 Lagrange point, the gravitationally stable spot directly between Venus and the Sun. From this vantage, it would maintain an uninterrupted view of both Venus and Earth, capable of delivering energy or signals to both planets simultaneously. The implications are staggering. This is not mere observation. This is strategic positioning on a planetary scale. The question that haunts scientists is no longer if 3I Atlas is intelligent, it's why. Is it acting as a gardener, transforming Venus into a habitable world? Or is it functioning as a harvester, methodically preparing resources for a far-reaching purpose? The energy readings collected so far align with theoretical outputs for a von Neumann probe, a self-replicating machine designed to explore, exploit, and expand across galaxies. Venus, with its abundance of sulfur, carbon, nitrogen, and other key elements, offers the perfect resource-rich environment. If this hypothesis is correct, then the green clouds may not be vegetation at all. They could be the exhaust of a planetary-scale manufacturing process. The potential scale of this operation is beyond comprehension. One seed object lands on a planet, manipulates its atmosphere, mines resources, and produces copies of itself. Each new copy continues the process, expanding exponentially to new systems. This is a model of galactic colonization using efficiency and automation on a level humanity has never witnessed, and if Venus is the template, Earth may well be the next target. Current data suggests that the anomalies observed in Venus's atmosphere, the unprecedented oxygen spike, and the directed neutrino beam toward Earth's deep-sea trenches are all linked in this unfolding narrative. In parallel, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Breakthrough Listen project at the Green Bank Telescope detected another extraordinary signal embedded within the chaotic neutrino stream. Unlike the prime number sequence detected earlier, this one is a repeating bitmap, a 1679, a binary string. Its origin is significant. In 1974, humanity transmitted the Arecibo message into space, encoding our biological and cultural information, including a graphic of a human being, the atomic numbers of key elements, and numbers 1 through 10. This message was sent toward the M13 star cluster, some 25,000 light-years away. The sequence now returning from Venus is a modified version of our original transmission. The modifications are deliberate and revealing. Silicon, part of the original message representing our DNA structure, is replaced with sulfur. The human figure has a larger head and a different body structure, and the population count no longer lists 4 billion, it lists 1. The inference is chilling yet profound. An extraterrestrial intelligence intercepted humanity's message, decoded it, adapted it to reflect its own biology, and returned it from within our solar system. The implications for astrobiology and SETI are unprecedented. We may be observing a sulfur-based species interacting with the second planet in our system, reshaping it to suit their physiology. This realization forced the International Astronomical Union to issue a Level 7 alert, the highest ever, for confirmed extraterrestrial intelligence contact. In 6 decades of SETI research, such an event has never occurred. Humanity now faces the stark reality that our communications into the cosmos have not gone unnoticed. The oxygen increase, cloud stabilization, and neutrino beams are not random phenomena. They are part of an orchestrated process. And the timeline is accelerating. Every hour, the oxygen level rises. Every hour, the neutrino signal sharpens, and 3I Atlas approaches its designated orbital position at L1. The scale of observation is breathtaking. Astronomers, astrophysicists, and planetary scientists around the world are monitoring the evolving situation in real time. The transformations on Venus are validated by multiple independent sources: visual confirmation, spectrometry, and neutrino detection. The patterns emerging in the clouds, the geometric formations, and the precisely modulated signals all point to a level of engineering and intelligence humanity has yet to witness. As of now, the clock is running. Within the next 14 hours, 3I Atlas will complete its deceleration, stabilize at L1, and fully turn its attention toward Earth. Telescopes and detectors are live, collecting data in real time. For the first time in human history, we are witnessing an extraterrestrial intelligence actively reshaping a planet while simultaneously establishing contact. The evidence is irrefutable, the probabilities of natural phenomena infinitesimal, and the questions for humanity now go beyond curiosity. They touch survival, adaptation, and understanding of life itself. The neutrino signal now becomes the focal point of every leading observatory on Earth. Unlike any natural emission, this stream is coherent, modulated, and highly directional. Normally, neutrinos pass through matter almost completely undisturbed, making detection challenging. Yet instruments like the IceCube Observatory at the South Pole are registering levels 4 times above background noise, with a precision that defies natural explanation. Embedded within the wave is a repeating prime number sequence, a universal signature of intelligence. It is a mathematical language that transcends biology and culture. This is not mere coincidence. It is a deliberate, calculated form of communication, and its implications are staggering. A Type I civilization on the Kardashev scale is signaling from within our own solar system. Even more concerning is the targeting pattern. The neutrino stream isn't random. It focuses on specific geological weak points, our planet's tectonic pressure points. The Mariana Trench, Tonga Trench, and Puerto Rico Trench are all receiving concentrated exposure. From a geophysical standpoint, these trenches represent the thinnest sections of Earth's crust, where energy applied would have the maximum effect on planetary engineering. If the intent behind 3I Atlas is terraforming or resource extraction, it is beginning with Earth's tectonic vulnerabilities, mirroring the same strategies being applied to Venus. Scientists are grappling with the scale of control required to direct energy at this level. We are witnessing a process that manipulates not just matter, but planetary structures. The trajectory of 3I Atlas adds to the enigma. It moves along a hyperbolic path that should eject it from the solar system entirely, yet Doppler shift analyses indicate anomalous deceleration beyond what gravity alone could achieve. Calculations suggest it will stabilize at the L1 Lagrange point, remaining fixed between Venus and the Sunday. This would grant continuous, uninterrupted monitoring of both planets while maintaining the capability to send energy or signals simultaneously. Its behavior is deliberate, controlled, and consistent with advanced intelligence rather than natural physics. Humanity is observing not a rogue object, but a sentinel with purpose. The energy calculations are equally astonishing. Transforming Venus's sulfur-dominated atmosphere into oxygen-rich, potentially habitable layers requires energy equivalent to the total solar radiation that Earth receives in an entire year, condensed into less than 12 hours. Yet, 3I Atlas is only about 5 kilometers across, lacking visible fuel sources, fusion reactors, or solar arrays. The power output inferred from atmospheric changes, chemical conversions, and neutrino emissions suggests peta, or even exawatt levels. These readings defy the standard model of physics, pointing toward technology capable of manipulating the fundamental forces of nature. This is not incremental advancement, it is the apex of engineering and energy mastery. Compounding the mystery is the timing of atmospheric shifts on Venus. Within hours of 3I Atlas's passage, multiple instruments confirmed rapid changes. Cloud albedo shifted, the green spectral signature surged, oxygen levels spiked to 18%, and complex carbon-based structures began forming in the upper atmosphere. Visual confirmation shows the planet changing color as though a living, breathing organism. Wind stabilized into laminar flows, turbulence vanished, and atmospheric pressure at critical altitudes adjusted precisely. Every observable effect indicates control at a planetary scale, a level of precision that human technology cannot replicate even in laboratory conditions. The emerging picture suggests a coordinated sequence: first destabilization of carbon dioxide bonds, then atmospheric conversion, followed by oxygen release and formation of organic lattice structures, culminating in a stable, habitable environment. The observations from Russian, Japanese, European, and American satellites corroborate each step, confirming that this is a global transformation unfolding in real time. The implications are clear. We are not witnessing a natural phenomenon, but an engineered process, a directed act of planetary-scale manipulation. What remains uncertain, and what keeps the scientific community awake, is the intention behind this unprecedented event. Is 3I Atlas preparing Venus for a life form of its own biology, as suggested by the modified Arecibo message? Or is it a demonstration of power and capability, testing our planetary defenses? Humanity is faced with a paradigm shift. Our concept of extraterrestrial intelligence, technology, and interplanetary interaction is no longer theoretical. It is observable, measurable, and immediate. The data confirms that the object is intelligent, methodical, and capable of altering planetary environments at will. The world now stands at a crossroads. Observatories, space agencies, and defense organizations are monitoring every change, every signal, every shift in energy, knowing that each moment brings more information about 3I Atlas's purpose. In the next few hours, the object will reach its final orbit, stabilize, and fully direct its attention toward Earth. What will follow is uncertain, but the implications are undeniable. Humanity is no longer alone in its solar system, and the arrival of a technologically superior, potentially planetary engineering civilization is not theoretical, it is happening. As the data pours in, one discovery stands out above all: the modified Arecibo message returning from Venus. The message isn't just a repetition, it's a response. In the original 1974 transmission, humanity sent a 9-bit graphic representing ourselves, our DNA, and the elements essential to life. What we received back is a startling reinterpretation. Silicon, a key element in the original, has been replaced by sulfur. The human figure is altered, featuring a larger head and different body structure, and the population count isn't in the billions, it reads as 1. Every detail suggests the message is tailored for a sulfur-based life form, the same composition that dominates Venus's upper atmosphere. The scale of this intelligence, and its capability to manipulate chemical and biological processes on a planetary level, is almost impossible to comprehend. Astrophysicists are grappling with the consequences. The modification implies intentionality. This isn't a random reflection of our signal. It is a deliberate communication from a civilization that has not only detected us, but understands our biology and technology. Venus isn't being terraformed for humanity, it is being prepared for them. The combination of atmospheric transformation, oxygen spike, and neutrino modulation points toward a strategic engineering project. If this is a colonization initiative, then the clock is ticking. The same processes observed on Venus could, in theory, be applied to Earth. And unlike Venus, Earth already supports complex life that could be profoundly affected or even displaced by such a transformation. The International Astronomical Union responded immediately, issuing a Level 7 alert, the highest possible, signifying confirmed extraterrestrial intelligence contact. In 6 decades of SETI research, no event has ever approached this level of certainty. Scientists are now forced to confront the implications. We are observing a civilization capable of interstellar communication, planetary engineering, and controlled energy manipulation on a scale that humanity can barely imagine. The sequence of prime numbers embedded in the neutrino stream, combined with the precise targeting of Earth's tectonic weak points, confirms not only intelligence, but purpose. This is the signature of a Type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale, advanced, deliberate, and unambiguously aware of humanity's presence.